True Blood, Season 7, the final season. I just got done watching episode 4 entitled Death is Not the End. Such a great title. The episode started off with Sookie making a phone call to Alcide's dad, played by Robert Patrick. And this was a great way to open the episode because I know a lot of people, including myself quite frankly, weren't happy that not only Alcide died, but the way he died. I just thought it was handled in a way that just was more for a surprise factor. And I liked that character so much that I felt like he deserved a little bit more. But at least we got some grieving period with him, his father. Just seeing that I think was very, very much needed. Also, same scene, we see Jason call Hoyt to tell him about his mom's death. And I love that because Hoyt, we haven't seen him in 2 seasons. And I wasn't sure if we were ever going to see him back. So even though it was a quick moment, seeing Hoyt's reaction to his mom's death was so sad. Just how he broke down. And also remembering that he doesn't remember Jason still. Sookie goes up to Jason because she sees that he's having some trouble. He's getting emotional after talking to Hoyt. And she just tells him to man up. And I love that because she's right. They still have their friends locked up somewhere. They don't know where yet. And they need to be as strong as they have to be for them. And there's been too much death already that they don't need any more piling up. So I like that, and I can't complain about more scenes with Jason and Sookie together. Loved it. Now, we got a good amount of flashbacks with Eric, which they did it last episode, and I completely welcomed it this time around. Because again, if Eric really is going to die, if he does die, or when he does die, I'm going to be so upset to see it. I really am. He's my favorite vampire character on the show. But if it's going to happen, I love what they're doing with this. How we're getting all of these flashback episodes. How we see Eric and Pam get Fantasia, basically. I mean, sure, at first it was a video store. And it was cool to see the Magister from the Authority. He was in like the first 2 or 3 seasons. It was cool to see him back, how they got this little place. And then even later on, we got some flashbacks of Ginger just showing up. And she liked vampire movies, of course. And she ends up working there. And then we saw another flashback of not only her bringing the throne that Eric sits on later on, but the fact that she came up with Fantasia, the fact that it was her idea, she had it all designed and laid out, even the name completely surprised me, but I love that. I love that we got some backstory on Ginger and that we saw, maybe this is the reason why they've kept her around for so long, because she can come up with ideas like that before she was glamored like 100 times. And I also like the fact that Pam admitted to Eric that it was Ginger because she would glamour Ginger and take the credit for coming up with the name. The scene where Sookie goes up to Arlene's kids, she goes over their house and she talks to them to basically comfort them. I like that a lot. This seemed like something season 1 Sookie would have done, and it was refreshing to see her just be that nice just because. And then Sookie goes to Holly and attempts to unglamour her to remember everything that went on, to try to find out where everyone is. And again, this was good to see Sookie being proactive and doing something that is hard for Holly, sure. That's pretty messed up that she's now like stuck with these memories, but it had to be done. And then we see Jason and Sam. Sam's driving, and he sort of just takes a turn and wants to go right for Fantasia because his girlfriend Nicole, his pregnant girlfriend, is still there. So of course he wants to save her. And Jason was like, no, we can't do it. We have to wait till night until we have some of our vampire friends that can help us, go there with an army. And I understood that. I understood why strength in numbers was a smart idea. But also, if it's daytime, wouldn't the hepatitis V vampires be sleeping? Or weak? I mean, wouldn't it have been just as proactive to go there during the day? I don't know. maybe I'm off on this. Maybe it was smarter to wait at night to bring an army with them. Jessica still won't heal. And there was speculation on whether maybe she has Hep B herself, which thank God that wasn't the case. It was just because she hasn't fed. Apparently since the night where she killed those fairies. She hasn't fed in months. I love that Sookie came in, and you're thinking what Jessica said, that Sookie was just going to say, hey, you know, try to give her some advice to feel better and stuff. But no, Sookie was like, look, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you're going through. I don't care what you're whining about. I don't care, because too many people have died, and we need to be strong. Similar to what she said to Jason, but a lot more blunt and straightforward. Again, Sookie giving the dead honest truth. She might have came off a little bitchy talking to Jessica, but again, it's Sookie. It's a strong Sookie that I like. And when Eric showed up to Bill's house and he finally talked to Sookie after who knows how long, quite a few months, that was refreshing too, because those two have a lot of history, have a lot of feelings together. And yeah, again, it's sad. It's sad that Eric looks like he's about to die. And when Eric summons Willa to show up, Willa is pissed. And at first I was like, Willa, why are you being such a bitch? What the hell? And then when she said, I was only 2 weeks old, and you just up and left. And if it wasn't for Tara, Willa probably would have been dead somewhere. Who knows what would have happened to her. So I get it. I get why she's pissed. But hey, Eric has a lot of shit going on. He's fucking dying, and they needed her help. So I'm glad that you're able to use the whole, as your maker, I command you. If it wasn't for that, a lot of these vampires would be doing whatever the fuck they want. I also love the idea that Jason was leading this army. I mean, maybe technically Bill was, as far as the vampires went, but Jason stepping up and giving that speech, yeah, maybe the Normandy reference wasn't the best way to go. I still love that moment, though. I love seeing Jason step up and be a leader. They mentioned earlier, actually, that there was a tunnel that led into the dungeon of Fantasia. I knew when they mentioned that that would come into play later on. We see a rat going through the tunnel, and it's Sam. And I loved Arlene's reaction, because I was like, oh yeah, she doesn't know that Sam is a shapeshifter. In fact, she might be one of the only ones that doesn't know. So her reaction was great. And then we got the battle. And this battle was pretty awesome. Mind you, it's only episode 4. And we got a battle that would probably suffice for a season finale. I mean, it felt like a similar season finale scenario with Hep B vampires versus the good vampires. And then also you throw in the crazy town folk in there with their guns, thinking they're going to do something. And there was just blood left and right blowing up, and you didn't know which people were dying. I was hoping my characters weren't dying, but still you never knew. The moment where the guy who lost the election to Sam, how he's been leading those crazy humans, he was about to kill Jessica, and then Bill just straight up stabbed him in the head, and I was like, holy shit, they just killed that guy. Here's a guy who I thought was going to be at least one of the big bads of the show, and he's dead by episode 4. So there you go. It looked like all of our vampires, they successfully killed everyone that they had to. There was even a moment where Arlene was damn near dead because the vampires were feeding on her. And this was something. When she was seeing Terry in the other side, when she was about to die, and just that quick moment with Terry, I really appreciated that, because he's a character that I liked a lot. I wasn't too crazy about his death, but I think this was almost a good way to show, to remind us how much of a good guy he was. How when he was with Arlene, he told her, I think you should stay, and he wants her to be happy. Then the vampire comes in, feeds her his blood, so she survives. And also Eric, when Eric went out to go find the vampire for them, he didn't come back, and they didn't know where he was. I was hoping they weren't just going to find him dead somewhere, because literally he's a ticking time bomb. He could die at any point. All in all, this episode, I really enjoyed it. I did. This season so far has had a lot of ups and downs, and again, it's only episode 4. I can't predict where they're going to go next, especially because it looks like they ended one of the bigger storylines that was moving this season forward. Now it's an open book. Now they can go anywhere. So again, I really enjoyed this episode. Now, really quick, since this is the final season, I want to do top 5 favorite True Blood villains or baddies. Why? Because it's the final season, so why not? When am I going to get a chance to talk about this kind of stuff again? Number 5, Warlow. And for anyone who saw my review for Season 6 of True Blood, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Warlow? Really? You hated Warlow, or at least what they did with Warlow, that he just was another love interest for Suki. Yes, I hated all that. I'm talking about the Warlow from Season 5. The quick flashes and flashback of Warlow from Season 5 that we got when he killed Suki and Jason's parents. Just how creepy he looked in the black trench coat and the hat. I loved the way he looked. He was so menacing and threatening just in those quick moments. But I'm gonna not talk about Season 6 again. I can't do it. Number 4, Steve Newlin. Yes, I like Steve Newlin as a baddie from Season 2, where he was running their Fellowship of the Sun, and just how over the top they were with their religiousness. I don't know, there was something about him, and then when he came back as a vampire, a gay vampire American, mind you, he went to the next level of over the topness, and I can just remember the scene when he goes to Bill's house and he sees Jessica and her friends partying, and he just starts dancing so goofy. I'm like, this is why Steve Newlin works as a bad guy, because he brings the fun, he brings the goofiness to the show that I love. Number 3, Marianne. Marianne was just crazy. She believed she was this Maenad, this creature that couldn't be killed, basically. She could control people at her whim, and when she did, they would have these black eyes, and they would just have sex and orgies and nakedness all around. Season 2 is still my favorite season, and I think Marianne played a big part of that. Number 2, Russell Agington. Russell Agington is such a great villain. He's definitely my favorite vampire villain on the show. He was like 3,000 years old, so he was one of the most powerful vampires ever. And just his charisma. Dennis O'Hare, his charisma, just what he brought to this character. The over-the-topness, you could tell he was having fun with this role. And he was a villain that I almost dreaded seeing die. But I knew it had to happen. Now, number 1 for my favorite True Blood baddie, might come as a surprise, Sarah Newlin. I love Sarah Newlin. Similar to Steve Newlin, just in the sense that Season 2, she was so over the top with the Christianity and the Fellowship of the Sun, but the fact that she would use God's name to justify cheating on her husband. Or when she came back in Season 6, the time when she killed that businesswoman and she said, "Thank you, Jesus." Like, I don't know, a character like that that's so over the top, that's so sort of goofy and fun, really makes me enjoy the show. In fact, she might be one of the only things I enjoyed about Season 6. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below not only what did you think of this episode, but who were some of your favorite True Blood baddies? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!